Good evening, and welcome to the School Board of St. Lucie County special meeting dealing with the budget and tentative millage. We'll turn over to the superintendent.
Thank you. We're going to ask Mr. Barajan to go ahead and present at this time.
Thank you. We do have the chairman of the Budget Committee here with us, Mr. Strickland. Ryan? We had a Budget Committee meeting this morning and actually talked about everything that was in the presentation and sent them a copy. This will also be placed on the website. There are some required topics to discuss, but since we have no audience tonight, we'll go through them pretty quickly because you guys have seen them quite a few times now. We do have a millage rate reduction. I'll get to that in a second. The total millage rate proposed is 6.927. It's made up of four components: the required local effort, 4.662. There's a prior period funding adjustment, which is also part of the required local effort. The supplemental millage, 0.748, and then the capital millage, 1.5 mils. And the amounts generated are in resolutions that will be adopted at the end of the hearing. And as a reminder, the millage rates do need to be voted on separately. The impact on the average homeowner, I got the information from the property appraiser's office. It's the average single-family home is up to $141,000. But here you can see we have a decrease in the millage rate from 7.283 to 6.927, which is a decrease of 0.356. However, with the increase in the average taxable value, the impact on a homeowner would actually be an increase on average of $111.64. There's a long trend history of our total millage rate, so you can see the decrease, quite a bit of fluctuation there. I add this because of the reminder that the legislature mandated reductions in the capital millage. It used to be 2.0 mils, they dropped it to 1.75 back in 08-09, and you can see they shifted the money to the required local effort. A nice way for them to say they increased funding, but it was really just a kind of a shell game, a shift. And so here's the current year total with the 1.5 mils. Can you see the mouse? You can see the mouse, right? Yeah. Taxable value history, you can see it's picking up nicely. The percentage increase this year was around 9%. I can give you the exact figure. I just did not put it in the slideshow or in the PowerPoint presentation. Tax collections, slightly lower slope because of the drop in the millage rate. And this is a running total going back to 2007-08. December of 2007 is really when we started seeing education funding in Florida really start to take a dive. And so I just think this is interesting to show that the impact on the taxpayers in the county compared to the 2007-08 base year of 184 million, the estimated tax collections this year are going to be 131 million, which is 53 million less. And cumulatively, since 07-08, $482 million less in tax collections when compared to that baseline amount of tax collections. So quite a big reduction in taxes. So one thing that we are also required to talk about is the rollback rate. As I said, we had there was a decrease in the total millage, but with the increase in property values, we have to calculate what a rollback millage rate would be. And what that means is, with the current property values, what millage rate would generate the same amount of revenues as last year? And that's the number that we have to use to determine whether or not we advertise this as a tax increase. So the taxable value and taxes collected last year, $131 million. Oops, right here. So we input this year's gross taxable value. It says net because we back out any new construction since that wasn't in place last year. And then we calculate what the rollback rate, millage rate, what the rollback rate is. That happens to be 6.713. The total millage rate levied is 3.19% more than that rollback rate, 3.19%. So 6.927 compared to the 6.713. And you can see there's the same, I needed to round that up, but it's calculated based on the 131,877. This is a summary of the budget by fund group. So the total budget, $498,563,530, broken down by the different areas. And the final budget hearing will be the first meeting in September. So all tonight's meeting does is establishes the tentative millage rates that will go out with the tax collector's tax notices. The final millages will not be set until that September meeting. Anyone wish to address the board?
Is there anyone who wants to address the board? Ryan, you're the only guest we have, no? Okay.
So then I'll turn it over for the recommendations and the voting.
Okay, board members, before we get to the recommendations, do you have any questions or comments to Mr. Bargeron? Okay, we will go to the superintendent for recommendation. As you know, it is a recommendation, a vote, recommendation, a vote, till we clear down the list. Mr. Gent?
Recommend the board approve the tentative required local effort millage of 4.6620 mils as specified in the Resolution 2016-17 trim, tentative A.
Okay, we have a recommendation from the superintendent.
So moved.
Been moved by Ms. Hilson. Second by Dr. Mills. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Carries unanimously. Mr. Gent?
Recommend the board approve the tentative required local effort prior period funding adjustment millage of 0.0170 mils as specified in the Resolution 2016-17 trim, tentative A.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent.
So moved.
Been moved by Ms. Hilson, second by Ms. Hawley. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously.
Recommend the board approve the tentative district school tax discretionary operating millage of 0.7480 mils as specified in the Resolution 2016-17 trim, tentative A.
Have a recommendation from the superintendent.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Mills, second by Ms. Hawley. Any discussion? All in favor? Any
Aye.
opposed? Carries unanimously. Mr. Gent?
Recommend the board approve the tentative district discretionary local capital improvement millage of 1.5000 mils as specified in the Resolution 2016-17 trim, tentative A.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent.
So moved.
Been moved by Ms. Hilson, second by Mr. Ingersoll. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any
Recommend
opposed? Carries unanimously. Mr. Gent?
Recommend the board adopt the 2016-17 tentative budget in the amount of $498,563,529.87 as presented.
Okay, we have a recommendation from the superintendent.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Mills, seconded by Mr. Ingersoll. Any discussion? Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Mr. Gent, one more.
Recommend the board adopt resolution trim 2016-17 tentative B, authorizing flexibility with categorical funds. Resolution trim 2016-17 tentative C, certifying adoption of the tentative millage rates by separate vote. And resolution trim 2016-17 tentative D, certifying adoption of the tentative budget.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Hilson, second by Ms. Hawley. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. Okay, other business. We have a public hearing. Is there anyone who wishes to speak to item 3.01, Code of Conduct? Seeing no movement, we'll have a recommendation from the superintendent.
Recommend the school board approve the proposed adoption of amendments to school board policy number 3.43, the Code of Student Conduct and the Health Manual as presented.
We have a recommendation from the superintendent.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Hawley, second by Dr. Mills. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Carries unanimously. That being all the business before this body, we are adjourned.